Resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, with
Brian Held.
Brian Held, how the hell are you, buddy?
I am fantastic. A little tired out, but we'll dig into the weekend a little later in the show.
All right, so let's set up the show. As always, we'll open up with top nerd news, and then we got our boy Skungy and his pick of the week, and I don't know what he's even talking about today.
Monster Hunter is what he's talking about.
You sure about that?
Absolutely.
Is he talking about Overwatch?
A little bit too, yes.
Does he know anything about it?
He does.
Okay.
And our guest this week is Dr. Victoria James. She is the author of the Dark Gifts series. Her latest book, Tarnished City, is coming out. We're going to talk all about it.
Tarnished.
Yes.
Tarnished?
Yes.
Like silverware tarnished?
Right, and not TARDIS like Dr.
Not TARDIS. That's what I thought you said, man. All right, and then as always, we'll close out the show with This Week in Geek History. All right, let's get right into it, man. All right, Brian, so what's topping us off today, man?
Well, the Ant Man trailer dropped on Tuesday, or I should say the Ant Man and the Wasp.
I didn't see it. It was too small.
What?
Yeah, I didn't. Actually, I didn't. When you told me it dropped today, I had no idea. I literally hadn't seen it. So that's my excuse.
Well, and speaking of small, they did go back to their poster design, too, where the Ant Man and the Wasp are very tiny on the a whole field of white on the posters. Yeah, it looks great. But no, I'm very excited.
It looks like it's going to be the same silly stuff, so I'm cool with that, though. I mean, one of my favorite parts of the other movie was Thomas the Tank Engine when they got the big fight on the train tracks, and then Thomas gets exploded real big and flies out the house. And then I guess apparently they ran out of weaponry, and so they blew up a big giant or a tiny Pez dispenser with Hello Kitty.
I know, yeah, that was cute.
Out the back.
Well,
so,
and it's cool to see the events of Civil War are still playing out in the MCU, and we're going to see kind of that fallout here in Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, he's under FBI scrutiny now, house arrest, et cetera. So, I mean, I can really kind of take it or leave it. I don't really care a whole lot, honestly, about Ant-Man. I mean, it was fun, but I don't really I enjoyed the hell out of it in the theater.
Yeah.
So I'll probably most likely go see it. Like even the first week it comes out in the theater now, but it came on cable the other weekend, and I was just like, I ended up watching something else.
No, and that's fine.
I think the movie is fun once, just like the first one was fun once. I'm sure this one will be fun once, but let's be honest. What does Ant-Man bring to the damn table if it comes to the Infinity War, besides, being able to get really tiny and really, really big? What, comic relief, once your boy, I was about to say Krull. What's
Thanos?
No,
he's going to kill him with laughs, right?
Right. I mean, what's he going to do? He's going to pick his pocket? Hey, I stole the stone out of his gauntlet when he wasn't looking.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. Time will tell, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope for it really needing to be a part of the story. I'm pretty sure if they didn't make this movie, Infinity War and Phase 4 would go on just fine without it.
I'm sure. Like I said, I'm going to go see it. It's going to be fun.
Well, you're a Marvel fanboy. You're going to get an Ant-Man tattoo on your ass. It'll probably be a little speck. It'll be really tiny, and you'll just say, hey, and be like, no, is that a freckle? No, it's Ant-Man. Look at my butt. It's right there. All right, moving on. What's next?
Well, speaking of Marvel, of course, Stan Lee was admitted to a hospital earlier this week.
Dude, I know, man. Way to bring down the show, bro.
Well, but he's okay. He was just a brief stay, get a little checkup, a little shortness of breath and everything.
Yeah, so well, here's some of the stuff that he said that we got via ABC.
All I really want to do is tell you that I'm feeling great. I'm glad I spent that evening in the hospital, and it did me a lot of good. Now I'm home and looking for new trouble to get into. The usual. I figured that a little checkup wouldn't be bad for me. And in fact, it turned out to be pretty good because it got me a lot of publicity. I didn't realize the whole world was worried about whether I was in the hospital or not.
Just Monday night, he was at the Black Panther premiere with star Chadwick Boseman. Stan co-created that character and joked about being there.
I'm always there, cropping up, always helping, aiding, assisting. I hope the world really realizes how much it owes to me.
He said that with a wink, but this with sincerity.
I just intend to keep doing this as long as I can.
He's a beast, man. I mean,
he is.
I mean, Jesus, I wish I had his vitality. I think he really is one of the Watchers.
Yeah, I would hope so. He's clearly a global treasure. We're going to miss him when he's gone. But
how old is he? 90?
95.
Jesus.
Yes. But
man, apparently writing comic books does, is good for longevity.
Right,
guess.
I guess so.
Maybe he was sniffing the ink. I don't know. I'm going to start drinking ink. So thank goodness Stan's around.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, he wasn't here. Was he here for Comic-Con?
He was. I took a picture with him.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Yes.
Duh. All right. Yeah. Well, good. Stan, don't go anywhere, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. What's next, man?
The Commodore 64.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yes.
All right,
It's
so this is like nostalgia city right here. It's going to be just kind of like how they had the NES Mini.
right.
But the downside is they don't have a release date for it yet.
Okay.
There just says it's coming, but it's going to be the same deal. They're going to have a whole boatload of games loaded on it. HDMI connection. You hook it up to your TV. It comes with a joystick, and I hope you get to type in load -8-1 *.
So kids today can experience the pain that we had back at 30 years
Yeah,
ago.
but you couldn't remember what it was, because each game had a different damn code. It's like, oh my god, which one was it?
Right.
But I loved the Commodore 64, and I didn't have one. My next door neighbor had one, and I always go, break into his house when he wasn't around and play it for hours on end, leave Cheeto dust on his computer.
Nice. I wonder if these guys learned anything from Nintendo, and if they're going to put out enough supply for everybody to get some, or if it's going to go to a secondary market on eBay.
In this article, it came from PC Gamers, so I mean, you got to take that with a grain of salt. PC Gamers don't know a whole lot.
What?
But in it said that they're not expecting, or the writer of the article said that they're not expecting it to really fly off the shelves like the NES. But I really think he's just dead wrong. I mean, it's like it's not clear. Where did it go? Oh yeah, the miniaturized remake may not see the same wild success as the Nintendo's NES Classic Edition, but there's no information yet on the price or release date. I think he's just dead wrong because that's just the author's opinion.
Okay.
And I honestly think he's dead wrong because people really love that. I mean, Nintendo might have had a wider release across the country, but I mean, so many people. The Commodore 64 was the original bad boy, man. I mean, it was. It was. It's like you had the Backstreet Boys. It was in sync. That's
Right.
Get that analogy? You loved in sync. Dirty pop. All right. What's next?
I think you wanted to talk about Cloverfield. Right?
Oh, all right. So, Mo, my brother, came over the other day, and actually, we were going to watch Cloverfield Lane, or what is it, 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Right.
I still haven't seen it, but I saw it come across the intranets on our Facebook page. The fourth Cloverfield confirmed, and that it's going to be set in World War II, called Overlord. But there was also the God Particle that was the working title. But what the bleep is 3? So if this is 4, what was 3? Now they're saying 3 was.
I'm trying to pull it up right now because somebody had asked about it on our Facebook page, and I looked it up.
So,
Cloverfield Station.
Oh, that's right. And it's not out yet. It's coming out in April.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes. April 20th is the release date for Cloverfield Station.
Right, and Overlord's going to be 6 months after that or something like that. Because it's already saying that it's already completed filming.
Yeah, October 2018 for Overlord.
Now, I really kind of dig the Overlord setting because now it's going to it's funny. What the D-Day operation was codenamed Overlord.
Okay.
So I mean, it's pretty much they just putting it in your face. And yeah, sure shooting on the eve of D-Day. A group of American paratroopers are dropped behind enemy lines. So it turns out that apparently this whole thing might be a Nazi experiment, because it says it's a Nazi-occupied village, and they find themselves fighting against supernatural forces, part of a Nazi experiment.
Interesting.
So apparently Godzilla, or the Cloverfield version of Godzilla, is a Nazi experiment gone awry. Or maybe it went according to plan. I'm not sure. I don't know. But look at the cast, dude. They got people from Black Mirror, Game of Thrones, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Who's that? Ian DeCosticker?
Okay.
I have no idea who the hell that is. You watch that show. I don't.
I'd have to look it up.
Okay. You do that. So, I don't know. I liked Cloverfield. That made me sick watching it. Didn't like them.
Is it one of those
It's
found
that
footage?
jerky found footage thing.
Yeah.
Like the whole dude's filming it on his damn phone. So you never really got a good look at the monster. Kind of like the new Godzilla that came out. You know, you expect to see a big giant-ass monster fight, and then all they do is they cut away, and then they just show you a little devastation of the city on somebody's stupid laptop or a tiny little black and white television. It's like, I came here to watch monsters fight. I came here to watch cities be destroyed, and you give me this.
Right. Now, I've never seen any of the Cloverfield stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
You should.
Okay.
You should. Actually, 10 Cloverfield Lane has John Goodman in it.
Cool. Cool.
He's a good dude. I met him out drinking in the French Quarter one night, sitting in front of the Wildlife and Fisheries office. Sat down and drank a beer with him.
Nice.
Good people. Good people.
So moving on, we cover a lot of cosplay stuff. We're going to all these conventions all the time. We take plenty of pictures on our Facebook and Instagram pages. And you brought this up to me. Cosplay by McCall's has two new patterns out, Callista Knight 1 and Carpathia. And I was very intrigued by seeing this article, the fact that the Callista Knight pattern doesn't require any sewing.
Exactly. And what do they use? Your favorite.
It's Warbler. It's a thermoplastic. And, of course, you're going to need a heat gun and sanding paper and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
so it's not like it's, hey, there's no sewing involved. This is going to be super simple.
No, it doesn't come in the package already. You got to go buy your own Warbler.
Right. But I do find this really cool that McCall's is getting on the cosplay bandwagon.
What was the other? Not Butterick. What was the other? That had the Bombshell Babes, the DC Bombshells series? Was that not?
It could be McCall's or Butterick or.
There was the other one. It's the other one. I can't remember what
Simplicity.
it is. Yes, that's it.
Yes.
All right. Wow, we're sitting here talking about
sewing and fabrics.
Yeah, I know.
I got to get to Joanne's.
All right, let's get back over, because what really drew me to this whole article was the Warbler makes a boob breastplate.
It does,
and so it's the Callista Knight, and it made me ponder an old article that popped up years ago where like boob armor would get women killed, because if you fell on said armor and the shape of the breasts basically says sword, glance here and kill me, stab me in the heart. But now you don't have to worry about falling over and hurting yourself and dying. You can make a Warbler chest plate.
Well,
and then boob plate armor will be safe again.
I suppose, but it would still probably hit you in the sternum there.
But just don't use a foam sword. Use a foam sword. This is for cosplaying.
All right.
And now it's historically inaccurate, but it still looks good. And I'm down on the Warbler train, so bring back the boob armor.
Oh, God.
That's all I'm saying. Just put it out there for you.
All right, Dave.
Duly noted. Okay.
What's next?
A break, maybe? I don't even know.
Before we get to a break, you wanted to talk about Superman, a prequel series, Metropolis.
Metropolis. What actually, I saw this, and so it's going to be a live action. Did you know Fox actually considered picking this up?
Yeah, it was going to be a companion to Gotham.
To Gotham, right. But I don't know. The whole thing about it is that it's going to be Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, doing like pseudoscience crap, and there's no Superman. At least in Gotham, you got David Mazouz, who is the young Bruce Wayne.
Right.
There's no mention of having a young Clark Kent in this show. It's basically going to be, I don't know what's it going to be. I don't really find myself interested at all in it. I mean, but you've got Krypton that Sci-Fi has, so now we're going to have two pre-Superman TV shows without Superman.
Well, I think that the more important question is that this straight-to-series order of 13 episodes was made for DC's upcoming digital streaming service. What do you think about that?
I am tired of getting bleeped up the bleep with all this paywall crap. I mean, CBS can kiss my ass. Now DC can kiss my ass. I mean, they all want my money. No.
Okay.
No. Come on. I mean, why would I get the DC downloadable or their streaming service if all they're going to offer me right now is a friggin' Superman series without Superman?
Well,
come on.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now, there's rumors that they're going to make Red Sun into a thing, an animated show. But I mean, for the most part, you can get all this crap on even on YouTube or like the CWC. They have all these like Flashpoint Paradox, a whole bunch of like Justice League movies that from the DC animated movie house, whatever the hell they call it. So why the hell do we have to have another paywall?
Well, they do have other stuff coming too. They have a live action drama called Titans, and they do have 2 animated series, Harley Quinn and Young Justice Outsiders. So
I'm gonna say something that'll probably be. I'm almost at the point of superhero fatigue.
Okay.
I mean, they're cranking out all this stuff. I love that we're getting all this stuff, but now, I mean, I would like to see the Teen Titans, but man,
all right, that's fair.
It's getting to be too much, though, man. I mean, how much? I mean, there's no time to watch all this crap either because they're making series. It's not a movie. Like I rewatched Bright last night.
Yeah.
Great damn movie.
Oh,
better not make it into a series because I will punch somebody square in their yowls.
Altered Carbon came out.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was a movie, and so then I looked at it and I was like, I just wanted to watch a movie.
All right. Well, hey, do we have to get the break?
Series. Probably had to go to break a few minutes ago.
We did. All right, guys, stay tuned when we come back.
Let's not go to break because Skungy's next.
That's what I was going to say. We're going to have Skungy in his pick of the week. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
In a New Orleans that never was and never will be, airships float high above the city while platoons of clockwork automatons patrol the streets below. In Storyville, pirates, streetwalkers, gamblers, and thieves prowl back alleys in search of their next mark. New Orleans by Gaslight, the premier anthology of locally written and locally produced steampunk poetry and fiction, all set in Victorian New Orleans. Buy it now, available in both paperback and Kindle versions at Amazon.com. New Orleans by Gaslight.
What would you do if God and the devil were playing a game and you had the winning move? The greatest time travel story ever told begins when Professor Francis Kane goes back in time to prevent the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. He blows it, gets thrown in an asylum, sells his soul to the devil, goes back to the beginning of time, takes over the entire world, gets crushed by God, then wakes up with a chance to do it all over again. Except now, he has a 5-year head start. Check out the gallery. Stay for the novels. PharaohKane.com. Are you looking for a unique gift or geeky item? Then look no further than Silverblatt Design. They offer unparalleled etched logos in glass or stainless steel from your favorite fandoms. Silverblatt Design etches on pint glasses, tumblers, shot glasses, flasks, and more. Having trouble finding a particular logo? Silverblatt Design does custom work and gets you exactly what you're looking for. Professional attitude, great customer service, and high-quality products are available now at Silverblatt Design. Find them on Facebook or Etsy and place your order today.
This is The Week in Geek your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now.
Inconceivable!
Follow The Week in Geek on Instagram at The Week in Geek Radio Show.
Ha you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Here's David and Brian.
Welcome back. This is The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. I'm your host, D Squared with
Brian Held.
All right, Brian, it's the worst part of the show. I really do not like this portion of the show.
Why?
Because it's horrible.
Oh, come on now.
I am not what you would call a handsome man.
Skungy's Pick of the Week is brought to you by GameStop and ThinkGeek.com.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
You might be an idiot savant.
Woohoo!
Skungy, what's shaking bacon?
I just want to say I love you too, Dave, all right?
Yeah. If I wasn't contractually obligated to have you on the show, well, I put it together, pal.
But I would like to make fun of Brian Held.
Okay,
why?
Because,
all right, we're back. I forgive you.
all right, yeah, because of the whole Jeopardy thing.
Oh, okay, why are you making fun of me about the Jeopardy? Did I post...
Because
for context,
everybody's come out of the woodworks with that, going like, this is me, this is me, this is me, you know, and you were like on the forefront of that. You were like leading the charge.
So just for context for our listeners out there, a video was posted of Alex Trebek asking football-related questions to contestants of Jeopardy, of which they didn't know any. And
Not a damn thing.
And I can relate to that because I didn't know those questions either. So because I'm not a sports ball fan like you guys.
But I can guarantee you, Brian's going to be watching the Super Bowl attentively. He's going to be like sis boom ba, right? Aren't you, Brian?
No, I'll be watching YouTube attentively just to get the commercials that appear in the Super Bowl.
All right, Scudgy, what are we talking about today, man?
We are talking about Monster Hunter World.
Oh.
So it's a brand new game that's just been released last week. It is, you know what, I want to say it's bad just for Don Cooper because he threatened like bodily harm if I gave it a bad review. So I just want to give it a bad review.
Oh, come on now.
It's a steaming pile of garbage. No, actually, I got to say this game is pretty amazing.
Okay.
I'll preface to say I've never really played any of the Monster Hunter games, and they've had a very long, storied history. It's just one of the ones that flew under the radar for me. I never got a chance to play them. But this one, I've heard a lot of buzz. I'm going to check it out, and man, this game is, number one, it's massive. It is huge. This world is amazing. The premise of the Monster Hunter is basically exactly what the title says. You go out and you hunt monsters.
Oh, right.
There's your game.
And what do you do with them? Do you make them pets? Do you kill them?
Well,
you put them in a zoo?
Well, it's almost kind of like the Diablo formula. You go on these quests to beat these monsters, to get material, to get better weapons and better armor, to go on bigger quests, to kill bigger monsters, you know. So it's got that formula to it.
So sounds boring. Really.
Well, you mentioned Diablo. Is it kind of that third person bird's eye view, or is it a first person?
It's not bird's eye view. It's third person behind the shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's got that. Now, it's like I said, and this game's got a lot going for it. Now, number one, you're going to be, like I said, you're going around and you're fighting all these monsters, and these monsters have personality of their own. Like, they have their own ecosystem in this world. Like, there's a food chain in this. So, like, you'll see that some of them are territorial. They won't, like, leave their territory. You'll see, like, they hunt, you know, what they hunt, what they eat, which ones are enemies with each other, and you can study them and, like, basically have, like, wiki pages on all of them and find out their weaknesses and what materials they have to make some of your weapons and whatnot.
So you have to basically plan kind of a strategy to take these monsters out.
Yes, it is not a hack and slash. You actually have to, you know, have a plan, and that which brings me to the combat. The game has, if I'm correct, like 16 different weapons that you can pick from. Each weapon set that you pick is a completely different way of playing. Every weapon feels different from the other one. They have different button combinations, different style. They do different things. So the versatility on so you're going to want to use on certain monsters this type of weapon, but then you're going to want to use another type of weapon, which is cool because it's constantly changing the gameplay and how you have to play the game. You can't just sit there and use the same weapon throughout the entire game because you're really not going to, it's really going to be harder in some of the later aspects of it if you're not versatile with your weapon set.
Interesting. So is it kind of medieval in its setting or modern? Like what sort of weapons are we talking about?
It's kind of they're like swords and axes, but they also have some like bows. But then they have what's almost like a machine gun, but it's like firing like fire, rounds and whatnot. So it's kind of got like it feels almost like it's got like it's medieval, but with a bit of technology to it, like mystic technology. It's really hard to explain on that one. But it's got this really cool feel.
Magic.
Yes.
It works by magic, yes.
All right.
So, but it feels really cool. It's the whole game. It feels like you're playing boss fight after boss fight after boss fight, which is really cool because these monsters are massive, and that's really cool when you have a game of almost nothing but boss fights.
All right. Well, that sounds kind of interesting.
And it's open world or what?
Yes, it is. It's huge open world. There are different quests that you're going to go into the open world. So, and you do have like a time amount limit to do a quest, but a lot of times that's just there as a suggestion. You can get done the quest in very little time, but spend the rest of the time exploring the world, picking up like minerals and different items to build your weapons and whatnot. The game itself, though, is over 100 hours. You can play it for pretty much over 100 hours.
All right. Well, it's not bad.
All right. So price and platform.
The game is on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Dirty PC, and it is $59.99.
All right.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Does it have a season pass?
There's no, I don't have a season pass for it as of yet, but Capcom will definitely, they always have DLC stuff available sooner or later. So
they just add on a new area or whatever. Just
probably adding on new area, maybe some more weapon sets and stuff like that, new monsters.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. What else is going on in the news?
Well, Red Dead Redemption finally got a date.
Yeah.
So it comes out October 26th. That's the bad news. So we thought it was going to come out in March or April, and then it's like, no, it's coming out in June, and now it's going to come out in October. But I will say this about Rockstar. Rockstar, the developer of Red Dead Redemption, also the developer of the Grand Theft Auto series, L.A. Noire Bully, great development house. They will not release a game until they're damn good and ready.
All right.
Maybe
so they won't put a subpar out.
Maybe they're adding on some loot boxes, and so they want to make sure they get it right.
I actually don't think so. They're really good about if there's something that happens in their game and they find something, they won't ship a game that's not complete. They won't ship a game that they're not proud of, saying like this is a game that we don't have any bugs or anything like that. They want the game as near as completion.
The loot boxes work properly, so they can get all those little kids money.
No, that's cool. That's respectable.
Let's talk about Overwatch, the league.
All right, league standings. Well, how the mighty have fallen.
Uh-oh.
So Soul Destiny is no longer tied for first because Soul Destiny actually got beat by London this week.
Oh, wow.
Now, wait.
The London Spitfires.
Oh, the Spitfires. Okay, yeah.
All right.
So, which means that there is a two-way tie for first between London and New York Excelsior.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So, and then Souls by themselves with a 6-2 record, and then Houston and then you have a four-way tie below that of Houston, Boston, the LA Valiant, and Philadelphia Fusion are all at 5-3. Poor Shanghai, man, hasn't had a win yet.
Damn.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? All right, with all these damn ties, it seems like every week you're telling me we got like a four-way tie, a three-way tie. What are the tiebreakers, and how are they? It's
going to be for people. It's probably going to be the same way that you do in any other sports thing. If you're tied, who has the tiebreaker? So normally it would go by if they played head to head, who won in their head to head match. So right now, London has the tiebreaker. If I'm correct, London has the tiebreaker because I think beat they beat higher ranked opponents as well. That's how it goes. It's ranking. If you beat a higher ranking opponent, you move up.
Wow, so it's not sounding like what do they call them in baseball? The
strength of schedule.
Yeah, the RPI too.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So I don't know. We're gonna have to get some. We're gonna have to go over the rules at some point to figure out how the hell this stuff works. Because it's like every week there's ties. So I mean,
but there's a lot of games, so eventually that stuff's going to start spreading out.
We're only in stage 1.
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, shoot. I mean,
we're in week 5 of stage 1.
It's going to start pulling crap like soccer, where at the end of the game it's a tie.
No, I don't believe they have ties in the individual games themselves.
No, they don't. No, they don't have
a 4-way tie. Is what I'm getting at, though.
Because
they all have the same.
Right, the score.
They all have the same.
Right.
What is it? Standings. Their win-loss record. Their win-loss. All of them have 5 wins and 3 losses.
And
that's why you have that 4-way tie.
If there were more teams in the league, you would probably have a wider breadth of game, disparity between. It's going to work out. We're just starting, Dave.
Well, I know, but I mean I don't want them to freaking start making up the rules as they go along.
No, it's just it has to do with the limited number of teams, and we're still at the beginning right now. So
you're in stage 1, and this is week 4 that just got done. You have week 5 next week, and that'll be the end of stage 1. And then you have 4 stages to go. So you have 5 weeks of 4 stages. So that's 20 weeks that you're going to have.
Either which way. I mean, that let's just say in the 3rd week, if nobody's running away with it and they're all like a bunch of cellar dwellers, I mean, what's going to be the tiebreaker? I mean, is it going to go down to the individual players, like the people who rank up and kick off another player? I mean, these are things you really need to know. I mean, these are things that's going to make or break this league. If they can't get their crap together and actually have it broken down, whereas, if they don't do a strength of schedule, then they do a simple, this personal player has gotten 4 wins as opposed to the other guy who's gotten 8, so that's going to help move them up on an individual record is what I'm trying to get at.
Here's the thing. The standings right now, even though they're tied, they're still ranked number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. But they all have the same schedule. So they must have some internal method right now that they're judging them by already, because they have the same.
Say that. So that's what we need to. That's what I need to find out. That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
So you got to get on that, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you're fired. You get me? I ain't joking around. You get me the information, damn it.
You know what? What's with all this hostility?
I don't know. The Saints aren't in the Super Bowl, so I'm still
exactly
in mourning. All right, go watch the Super Bowl.
I will when I get out of work.
All right, you have fun. All right, Brian.
Later, guys.
Later.
All right, guys. When we get back from this short break, we're gonna. Oh,
yeah, just cranking up the music.
I know. We're going to talk with our guest, Dr. Victoria James, about her latest book, Tarnished City, from Delray Penguin and Random House.
Tarnished?
Tarnished.
Oh, Tarnished. I thought you said TARDIS, like Doctor Who.
No.
Okay.
But she is British. So, all right, guys, stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Are you looking for a unique gift or geeky item? Then look no further than Silverblatt Design. They offer unparalleled etched logos in glass or stainless steel from your favorite fandoms. Silverblatt Design etches on pint glasses, tumblers, shot glasses, flasks, and more. Having trouble finding a particular logo? Silverblatt Design does custom work and gets you exactly what you're looking for. Professional attitude, great customer service, and high-quality products are available now at Silverblatt Design. Find them on Facebook or Etsy and place your order today.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Bell Chase Highway today.
This is Kate Mulgrew for the Week in Geek. Just kidding. It's Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, the Major from Ghost in the Shell. Listen, or the Tachicomas are going to get you.
This is Brian Held with the Week in Geek radio show on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. And I'm joined by author Vic James, who wrote Gilded Cage and now her newest book, Tarnished City, second book of the Dark Gifts series, is coming out on February 6th. Vic, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Brian. Delighted to be joining you again. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it was such a pleasure, and thanks for remembering that. February 9th was the last interview that we aired for you. That was last year, and so if folks want to go back and listen to that, we've covered a lot of ground, right? Gilded Cage, it set the pace for your story here, a world of magic that's laid on top of our own, but now we have Tarnished City, which really digs into the political intrigue that's happening in this world. Tell me a little bit about it for our listeners.
Yeah, so the world of Gilded Cage it's an alternate contemporary Britain. It's a kind of 1%, 99%, our rulers are rich, our rulers are powerful, our rulers are good old British wicked aristocrats, and in the world of my books, our rulers have magic, and they use that magic, sort of much as aristocrats have historically used their other forms of power, which is to say to give themselves a very comfortable, cushy life at the expense of the rest of us. Now, the world I wanted to create was one that would feel believable. So it's cruel, but it's a very everyday, sort of mundane kind of cruelty. It's the kind of thing that you can imagine people just sort of shrug and think, I bet it got on with it, in the same way that we all do when the bad stuff in life hits us, except here it's institutionalized. So that's the world of book one. There is magic. We don't see a lot of it because the aristocrats have set the world up so neatly that they really don't need to use it. They've shaped this Britain so it suits them just how they like it. In here, in book two, the politics sort of ratchets up a little bit, and so does the magic. Now, this is kind of one of the things I love in something like Game of Thrones, where the dragons, they're basically eggs in series one, aren't they?
Right.
And you're not quite sure what's on the other side of the wall. It might or it might not be human. And then sort of as the books sort of progress, they become progressively more magical. And that's a sort of a movement that happens across my trilogy. So there's a third book, Bright Ruin, that is out in the fall this year. And it is one sort of very tight story. So book two, middle book, people sometimes sort of roll their eyes a little bit at that, the middle book. And I thought, well, no, actually, what I want to do with my middle book is I want to make it kind of the darkest, the twistiest, and possibly the most unpredictable of the three, although I very much hope that people won't actually sort of be guessing where the story is going. When you have a book that starts with revolution, people normally think, well, that ends in kind of overthrow of the government, but you'll have to wait a few more months to find out if that's the case.
Right. Now, and you're absolutely right. For me, both books, I could not put them down. And I felt the first one was very fast-paced. I mean, I was just consuming it as fast as I possibly could. But now with the second book, you mentioned a second ago, there are more hairpin turns than a twisty road in this book, and it really digs into the political intrigue that you're building in this world.
Yeah, I mean, sort of what I wanted to do in all three books, they have sort of two main settings. So you have a setting which is the place of the people, which in sort of book one is one of the work towns where those who don't have magic sort of have to spend 10 years of their life. And the other setting was this grand aristocratic estate, kind of, sort of Downton Abbey gone very, very bad. In book two, I sort of wanted to take both of those and sort of push them a bit further. So the Tarnished city of the title is London, my own beloved London.
Right.
I love it so much, and I kind of trash it very horribly by the end, as you will know. Yes. And then the other location in book two is another aristocratic estate, which we start off thinking is some sort of jail, some sort of place of punishment. And what I sort of wanted to do in the book that was kind of where I had a lot of fun. I used something called the Stanford Prison Experiment, which you're probably familiar with. There's this very sort of creepy scenario. Sort of science will always give fiction a run for its money in terms of sort of reimagining the world in sort of weird and twisted ways. So it's this castle is actually sort of as much a psychological experiment as it is a place of punishment. So on the one hand, you have this sort of countrywide political conflict set in a capital city, and then on the other hand, you have this sort of small, locked down kind of community in a way, right. In this sort of remote, desolate castle in Scotland. So you have a sort of a macro and a micro sort of world where sort of twist after twist is happening, and then at the end they come back together.
Now we're talking with Vic James, author of the Dark Gifts series, and I wanted to ask, you're mentioning places, and it reminds me that we're not really sure completely what's happening with the rest of the world. There's a little bit of the snippets as to things that are happening in the Americas or maybe the Middle East. Or are we going to see more of that intrigue develop in book three?
Book three doesn't scale up to a sort of a global stage because, as you'll realise by this point, it's a very British story, and it is set in Britain. But I always sort of feel that sort of stories that try and take on politics but stick to a very small society, whether that's like a sort of a city-state or a single country, that's not how politics works, and that's not how power works, and in the same way that's not how protest works. So one of the things that you sort of see in book two and that sort of does get developed in book three is this idea that the world is watching. It's all very Hamilton. History has its eyes on you. So that is one thing that in my books, the disempowered, those without magic, that is a power that they appropriate to themselves, the power to point to their rulers and to say, the world is watching and judging. So that is kind of the importance of the global context in these books. I'm telling you, I would love to dig into it. I have a whole kind of global geopolitical.
Right.
I can tell you exactly how each country is set up. In the edit process, I try and sort of I put all this stuff in. I put in sort of little stories about something ghastly that happened in a sort of Central Asian republic, and I had to take it back out again because it's like, oh God, it's really just not relevant to the story I'm trying to tell here. But it's all up there in my head, and my hope is that if the books do ever kind of make their way to the screen, then that would be something, that bigger canvas would be something we could explore. I would be very stoked to do that.
Well, and you bring up an excellent point. I know you can't dig into it a lot, but your series has been optioned, right?
That's right. Yes, very exciting experience for any author, let alone, an author kind of fresh out of the gates with her first book. The vision I always had for the books, I wanted the experience of reading them to be a bit like, kind of sort of binge watching your favorite sort of twisty, sort of TV series. What I think television is really nailing in the last couple of years is that combination of like spectacular visuals, but with kind of intertwined character-driven storylines. Right. I think TV has really shown that this is where its strength is. It can take a number of characters and it can follow them through in a way that film is just, we're beginning to feel like, the only scale advantage that film has is simply the size of the screen that you watch it on. I think in terms of telling a big, twisty, plotty story, all those streaming services are kind of where it's happening. So when we got a call, my agent got a call, I can't say who from, but right. They're folk who make film and TV. And when they said, we see this as something for kind of multi-part TV, I was like, yes, please. Tell me more.
Well, and I can tell you fairly that when I read books for review nowadays, it's either one or two modes. I can see this on some sort of streaming service or I can't. And yours is smack dab in the middle of me watching this as some 8-part or 12-part, series that's just been dropped that I'm absolutely going to binge. So it's very exciting news.
I'm keeping everything crossed. I mean, obviously I know the conversion rate doesn't always work for everything that gets optioned. It can't all make it onto the screen, but I feel it's the right kind of treatment for the right kind of story. And, your words are really kind. They are words I've heard from other readers. They say, as I turned the page, I was seeing it. It was like I was watching it. And at that point, I do a very sort of un-British little sort of air punch, and I'm like, yes.
Nice. Now, of course, once again, your book out February 6th on newsstands. Are you going to be in the States anytime soon, maybe doing some signings?
The distance between Britain and the US is much shorter than we always think. I always seem to be popping back and forth. I don't have exact plans I can share with you at the moment, but Del Rey Books at Random House are just fantastic about kind of scooping me up and bringing me over for exciting things. So, I was at San Diego last year. I've got a whole bunch of stuff sort of coming up in the UK, and fingers crossed I will be back in the States later this year. Probably not for book 2, but book 3 is out in October. So I suspect you'll be seeing me around about then.
No, that's fantastic. Well, how can folks find out your schedule? How can they keep up with the book progress?
I'm very chatty on Twitter, probably chattier than I should be for someone trying to write. So you can find me there on @Dr. Victoria James, that's just Dr. Victoria James. In a previous life, I spent too long reading too many serious books. I also have a website, www.vicjames.co.uk, and I'm also on Facebook. I'm relatively chatty on there as well.
Nice. Well, Dr. Vic James, thank you so much for taking the time to tell us all about your latest book, Tarnished City, out on newsstands February 6th.
Always such a pleasure to be with you. Fingers crossed we'll chat again in October.
Absolutely. Guys, when we get back, we'll close out the show as we always do with This Week in Geek History. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktieTans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends. You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
What would you do if God and the devil were playing a game and you had the winning move? The greatest time travel story ever told begins when Professor Francis Kane goes back in time to prevent the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. He blows it, gets thrown in an asylum, sells his soul to the devil, goes back to the beginning of time, takes over the entire world, gets crushed by God, then wakes up with a chance to do it all over again. Except now, he has a 5-year head start. Check out the gallery. Stay for the novels. PharaohKane.com.
Do you have a message or logo that you need the world to see? Then rely on the folks at Gretna Signworks to use their expertise to deliver your design. With over 15 years in business, Gretna Signworks can do commercial and yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, magnetic signs, vehicle graphics and lettering, and so much more. Gretna Signworks also has an exceptional network of suppliers, so no job is out of scope. Find Gretna Signworks on Facebook or visit them at 2125 Belle Chase Highway today.
Welcome back to The Week in Geek. Don't forget, you can listen to previous episodes on the iHeartRadio app at The Week in Geek Radio Show. Here are your hosts, D Squared and Brian Held.
Welcome back in. This is The Week in Geek. Now, as always, we want to strongly urge you to check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twigradio, and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, once we're off the air, we're going to host this on Spreaker.com, or you can download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and at WNRNO.com.
Just a few places.
Just a few places.
Just a couple. All right, let's get this show on the road and wrap this. What?
Well, I wanted to talk real quick about what we've been doing this past week.
I can't talk about what I've been doing.
On Friday, I was at the Crew of Arms Parade in Baton Rouge, marching as Vader with the 501st. So that was super cool. And at the same time, I missed the royalty dinner for Chewbacca, and I received a 2018 Golden Wookiee for
you got an award and you didn't show up for it? You big-time Chewbacca? Wow.
But I was marching as Vader, you know? So
sure, likely excuse.
But I caught up with everybody the next day when I went and watched the Crew of Chewbacca's parade last night.
The Academy.
I did not snub the Academy.
The Academy.
No, but it was a good time. I've got pictures going up right now for Chewbacca, so check those out.
I'd put up pictures, but well. All right, You ready? Let's wrap this show up with This Week in Geek History?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This Week in Geek History.
We're sending you back to the future!
Yes! Oh my gosh!
This Week in Geek History is brought to us by
the Viridian Tea Company.
Yeah. Because we love Kimberly.
We do.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Wow. All right, man, what's topping us off tonight?
All right, first one on my list is January 29th, 1595. Most historians agree that this is likely the very first time that the play Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare was ever performed.
Performed?
Yes, on stage. It was produced as a book in 1597.
Wow. Was it at the theater? What's
the Globe Theater?
The Globe, yes.
Yes, probably. But
okay. Why would you pick Romeo and Juliet?
Because it just came up in my list.
Popped up?
Yes.
What are you, some hopeless romantic? Or you enjoy watching people die for love? I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Right,
okay. January 30th, 1933.
1933. What happened in 1933, Brian Held?
The Lone Ranger begins a 21-year run on ABC Radio. How cool is that?
On radio. God, man, I wouldn't mind hearing some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some old radio serials.
Well, we have a friend. You have a friend. I have a friend now who in Atlanta who does the
Atlanta Radio Theater.
See?
Yes, Retta, our friend over there, produces some great stuff.
It's cool stuff. So if we can't find the original, we'll listen to them.
Yes, most definitely. All right, on January 31st, 1988. Debuting right after Super Bowl 22, it's the Wonder Years.
No way.
Yes.
And that debuted after the Super Bowl? Really?
Yeah, Redskins 42, Broncos 10. There you go.
Poor Broncos.
Yep. Are you surprised that I knew a sports statistic?
No, you didn't. It's written on the paper. You wrote it on the paper. It doesn't count. The Wonder Years. Oh, Winnie.
Oh, yes.
And she got even hotter when you found out she was an algebra nerd.
Oh, yes.
It's just like, man, I didn't think her stock could go higher, and it did.
It's good. It's good. All right. Next on my list is for Cyber Ernie on February 1st, 1928.
Was that when he was born?
No. H.P. Lovecraft's short story titled The Call of Cthulhu is published in Weird Tales.
Ernie's going to revoke my credentials. Love you, Ernie.
Oh, man. So terrible.
I know.
All right. I got one. You don't have to guess this one. Yay. It's on February 2nd, 1972. starring Malcolm McDowell, David Prowse, Clive Francis, and directed by Stanley Kubrick. Do you want to take a stab?
Is it a vampire movie?
No, it's A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, Stanley Kubrick, yeah.
Yes. So very, very disturbing tale.
Yes. Yes. I don't even want to talk about that damn movie.
All right. That's cool.
All right. We got about 2 minutes, Brian.
All right.
What else we got?
How about some birthdays? You ready?
No.
On the 29th, Sarah Gilbert. She was Darlene on Roseanne and Leslie Winkle on The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's on The View.
Oh, okay. That's cool. On the 30th, Christian Bale, Batman, right? The Dark Knight, yeah.
Those are the DC movies you like, as you've told me.
Yes.
Ad nauseum.
On the 31st, Justin Timberlake.
He's performing tonight, Brian.
Is he? Where?
Well, I don't know if he's already performed now or if he's already performed. I don't know.
Okay. On the 1st, our very own Kimberly B. Richardson.
Shut the front door.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, do you?
Yeah. On the 2nd, Brent Spiner from Star Trek. Data. Yes.
Data.
And on the 3rd, Warwick Davis.
Wait, who?
Warwick Davis.
Oh, the
Wicket.
Ewok. Wicket.
Yes, Wicket, yes. So.
Willow.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got, buddy.
Recently.
All right, next week, the crew of South Downs in Baton Rouge. I'll be marching as Vader again in Baton Rouge. Yeah.
South Downs?
Yeah, crew of South Downs. That's what it's called.
Is it like Downs Lounge?
No.
Nobody remembers Downs Lounge?
No.
Somebody out there is going, oh, yeah.
Oh, geez,
The
Dave.
retirement home for strippers.
Yep, and I'll be watching Bacchus next Sunday.
Really?
Yes.
I'll be driving in Tux.
Okay, that's cool.
The Ducks of Dixieland.
Yes, don't run anybody over, Dave.
Look, I've tried. They won't let me. The cops keep giving me these ugly looks. And all right, so next week, what we got going on, man?
Let's see. I have a
got
guest.
An interview with somebody. Cool.
I do. Let me look it up. Ben Dolnick, writer of the Ghost Notebooks.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So great story. We got an advanced review copy, and it was great. So
absolutely. All right, guys, check us out. You know the deal. Facebook, all the other jazz. Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
Sticky finger culture from Berlin down to Belize. Take you for a ride. The most China, tell me where in the world